This is a breaking news alert from 24-Hour News 8.
We want to take you live now to St. Joseph, where a news conference is just getting underway following yesterday's deadly shooting at the Berrien County Courthouse.
Loving fathers, and we're mourning their deaths this morning across our county and across this country. So, the only new information I have to give you today after further investigation from the crime scene text is that the suspect in this incident was handcuffed in the front, and that during his transport in between the courthouse, the courtroom and the holding cell, a fight broke out with our deputy, and he was able to remove his weapon, which caused this mayhem yesterday. I can open it up to any questions if you have any.
Is this new information something you learned by watching video of the incident, or?
This is new information. We're talking to the investigators because the scene was secure yesterday, and so I was told that he was handcuffed in the front, and the handcuffs were on him when they removed him from the scene.
Can you tell us which deputy was relieved of his weapon?
It would have been my court deputy, Deputy Atterbury.
Can you tell us why Mr. Gordon was in jail when he was appearing for?
He was appearing on a domestic violence, but he was also here on some criminal sexual conduct cases.
Is this somebody your deputies might have been familiar with? Have you been in and out of the system multiple times?
Yes, we were familiar with him.
Has he had this type of demeanor in the past at all? Combative?
Not while he's been in custody. He's not been combative. He's always been cooperative the entire time he was here. So I do tell you that Deputy Atterbury and the two bailiffs are well trained, well prepared. This is an unfortunate thing. We move people every day. Every courtroom moves people from holding cells to the courtroom. Safety is the utmost, and this is an unfortunate situation where this inmate who wanted to break out was able to overpower our deputy and get his weapon.
Sheriff Bailey, this happened to two of your friends, two of your colleagues. How are you coping today? Have you talked to families of the bailiffs?
We're going to be having grief counseling for all of our employees, as well as the courthouse. And yes, I've talked to the families. It's hard. They were both really close friends of mine, so it is very difficult today. It was hard to sleep, but my prayers go out to the officer's family, and we will continue to pray for healing, and we'll do that. This is a great community, and I have received over 500 emails. My phone is full from people calling to say that they're with us and they're praying for us.
Are there any funeral arrangements at this time?
Not at this time. They will be later today.
Sheriff, I know yesterday you had said in a press conference that it was Deputy Atterbury who had the gun wrestled away from him. Is that what your investigation has continued to find? I just want to confirm that.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Well, we'll reopen on Wednesday, and we'll have more deputies there for a while so that everybody feels safe and secure at the courthouse.
Is there any information on that civilian victim, age, name, what she was doing there?
Not at this time. We'll have further for you once the investigation continues.
Is he still in the hospital?
Yes, he's still in the hospital.
How's he doing?
He's doing good. He's in stable condition. Thank you.
What about the actions of those bailiffs who were able to
Excuse me?
Can you give us details of the actions of those bailiffs who were able to take the court?
Those bailiffs were heroes, along with all the other officers that were in that courtroom. They ran to where shots were being fired, and this could have been a lot worse without them being so brave to go into the gunfire and take this person down.
Sheriff, as I understand, not in every state are bailiffs armed, but at the courthouse here, your bailiffs are armed, correct?
Yes, they are. They are armed.
And Now, you mentioned that there was some sort of a fight altercation that broke out. Was anything said? Did any of your other officers hear how it started?
Well, we'll have more details as we meet with our investigators. We're here late last night. They'll be coming back this morning, and I'll get more details from them once they arrive back here at 8 o'clock this morning. They needed to get some sleep. So they'll be going over all the film that we got from the courthouse, and we'll be able to give you more details exactly what occurred when this incident occurred.
Sheriff, I apologize if I missed this. Did you say the female victim, is she still in the hospital this morning as well?
We're checking on that now. She was at the hospital. I haven't been able to check to see if she's still there.
Was he able to get the handcuffs off of him, or did he get the gun with the handcuffs still in front of him?
He got the gun with the handcuffs on him in the front.
How many shots were fired?
We're working on that too. We'll have more details once we get more information that we can send out to all of you exactly what happened.
You said he...
Yesterday, an autopsy would be held. When will those?
Those will be this morning.
You said he still had the handcuffs on when he was killed.
That's correct.
Sheriff Bailey, can you speak on these two bailiffs, not as professional co-workers, but as friends? What memories did you have with them that you can speak on at this time?
Well, I could just say at this time they were great friends, great people, love their families, love their children, and our hearts are broken for their families and for their kids at this point. They just did great things in our community, both of them. Joe Zangaro was a post commander when I became sheriff, and we worked on many things together in Berrien County, and since he's been the head of security here, he has done a wonderful job of making sure that things are properly done and people are protected while they're at the courthouse. Both of them were just class acts. Ron Kinzel retired from Benton Township as a sergeant and had a great years serving Benton Township residents. So besides that, they did so many things in the community when they weren't working. And I'm sure you'll hear some of those stories as we move, but they're just great people.
Sheriff, you said you've received some 500 messages from across the nation. What's it like, despite this tragedy in this moment, to get all of that support?
That goes to tell you what great country we have. As we talk about being divided, we're not divided. We're strong, and we're going to move forward. We're Americans. And when a tragedy happens, which is so sad, and we're hurting, but we stand strong. And America will always stand strong.
You mentioned that you want to make sure people feel secure on Wednesday when you reopen. Are you going to be looking into changing protocol? Are things going to change inside, or it's just...
We're going to look at everything about why this happened and make sure that if there's things we can change so this never happens again, we will. But we will be meeting, we'll be debriefing about what happens. We'll be going and working with the chief judge about our protocols at the courthouse, and we will move forward in the future.
Was there any further indication of why the suspect might have acted the way that he did?
Well, we'll have more information. The investigators are interviewing everybody they can to get information if he reached out and talked to anybody about doing anything, and we'll have more information about that here in the future too. But we are in the process of interviewing everybody we can to see if he had spoken to anybody about this.
Sheriff, you mentioned that you had a hard time sleeping. How are you getting through this and getting your men through this?
With God's help, with prayer, we'll get through this. With our brotherhood, we'll get through this. We'll lean on one another, and we'll mourn the loss of Ron Kinzel and Joe Zangaro, but we'll move on.
Any idea why there was some conflicting information as to whether he was handcuffed or not handcuffed during all this?
I got wrong information at the beginning, and the scene was secure, so we didn't go back. So once I did my last press conference, the crime scene techs told me he was handcuffed in the front.
How long have you been in the holding area?
Your guys' hardship right now.
Pardon me?
What can the community do? They're getting a lot of emails. I'm sure they want to help. What would they be able to do to ease your hardship?
Just pray for us, and when you see an officer out on the street, tell him thank you. My deputies that work in the jail don't see the public as much, but they also get thanked. So just thank all law enforcement across the country for what they do every day. When something happens, as you can see the tragedy that happened in Dallas, every police officer went right to where the situation was to get it under control without thinking of their own personal safety, and that's what we do every day in our country.
Sheriff, can you talk about at all the decision to handcuff him in the front rather than in the back? Is the protocol, how those decisions are made?
Yeah, well, we always, when we move people into the courtroom, they're handcuffed in front. Thank you. It depends on the circumstance. If we have someone that we know that has caused problems before, we do that. He was just handcuffed in the front of him.
Sheriff, you said you'll have more deputies Wednesday. Can you talk about some of the other things you'll be looking at to make it as safe as possible for the community here as far as the courthouse?
We'll be meeting with the chief judge and with our staff, just going over all the protocols and getting advice. And I'll be meeting with Bill Wolf, the county coordinator, and the county commissioners on our next step on what we need and getting funding for that to happen. Thank you.
Are your guns clipped in on the side?
Yes.
How would the suspect go about unclipping a gun?
Well,
is it an easy thing to do?
He did, but I don't want to get into those details now. No, it's not an easy thing to do. So thank you. If you could keep our officers in your prayers, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Berrien County Sheriff Paul Bailey there updating the public and the media with an early press conference about the latest on the investigation. The new information this morning is that the inmate, the suspect in this case, was handcuffed in the front and was able to wrestle away the gun from the deputy who was transporting him from his holding cell to court that day. That deputy is in stable condition, we understand this morning from the sheriff, 41-year-old James Atterbury. Of course, the victims in this tragedy, two bailiffs, 61-year-old Joseph Zangaro and 63-year-old Ron Kenzel. We will continue to have the very latest from Berrien County all day. We will be fully staffed down there, woodtv.com and throughout our newscasts. Stay with us.